Guess what? Chicken butt. Speaking of unauthorized comedic intrusions, I have found something conspiratorial and questionably worthy of a video. A shockingly random, mysterious, uninvestigated thread in the most obscure corner of the most random transitional scene in a kids' animated film sequel almost 2 decades old. In Shrek 2, we get, not 10 minutes into the film, a shocking, appalling, offhand scene that shakes me to my very core. Absolutely despicable. Do you see it? This insolent trumpeter has deviated from instruction to blare his unbridled snark at the most important moment in the Royal Kingdom's known history. He plays the Hawaii Five-0 theme song. I would start going nuts about how it exists at this time in history, but we know full well that the Shrek films have a convergent timeline with TV shows similar to Cops in it, so this is typical. It's the study of Shrek, I've done it thoroughly. No, what gets me is that this is a very important moment which he has chosen to interrupt with cringe for no other reason than to further his personal ego. Shrek's unlikely to have seen Far Far Away's version of Hawaii Five-0 out in his swamp. How dare a class clown buffoon attempt this? The dude who is giving the announcement, he is the Herald, I think you pronounce it as they call it, spelt like this, not like our King Harold. Anyways, he gives us information about this fool who has intruded the most integral moment in Fiona's adult life. He scolds him and says, "Enough, Reggie." And with that, we begin our journey into this untapped, unprecedented gold mine. Why did he choose to interrupt this important moment? What does this imply about him? And is he more than just a petty joker? Don't click off this video. Reggie will find you. Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and don't tell me this is an overreaction, because it is. Best I understand it, Reginald here is a reference to a character from a 1937 movie called A Damsel in Distress, but that doesn't really help us, and interestingly enough, that's the only tidbit of trivia on the entirety of the internet regarding Reggie. A blank slate. Perfection. As far as we get to know him in this scene, he is a far, far away inhabitant who plays for the Royal Messenger. Brown hair, brown eyes, medium build, middle age. I went frame by frame to identify the handedness in which he plays his instrument, only to learn that typically this thing is held in a certain way regardless. Clever. DreamWorks even sacrificed symmetry to keep the handedness the same on either side. In terms of personality, he is a Chad. A jock. Or rather, he is a Chad on the inside and a geek on the outside. This is crucial. Please believe me and do not forget it. The musicians of Far Far Away are fairly interesting characters, and we do get a little bit of background info on them when we see the high school in Shrek the Third. Here we see the youth of Far Far Away and beyond, and how they are raised and taught. It's likely Reggie went to school here, given it being the only significant place we see a school band in full fashion in these movies. It makes sense too. I mean, I do believe a good chunk of Far Far Away goes here. I believe that he went here and left a clear Reggie-shaped impact in the school. But then I rewatched a scene and a realization hit me like a ton of bricks. He did absolutely go here, and he did influence the school. This pushes my upcoming theory into being slightly more likely because get this. When Shrek goes to the assembly, the band in the background does the exact same thing Reggie does. Shrek comes in and they deviate from their course to play an instrumental rendition of a meme. In this case, All Star. This is all a bit unorthodox. Now! For those who are sane and don't worship meme culture, you might not recall, but All Star by Smash Mouth is Shrek's very own theme song. It's a joke, it's funny, and here we see the Shrek films doing it before it was cool, just like Reggie. A meme-worthy instrumental intrusion? This band is suspicious, and Reggie certainly is tied to it. He went to school here, like the vast majority of Far Far Away boarding schoolers did. Reggie is a Chad on the inside, geek on the outside. In a high school full of division, the only point of unity is inside jokes. This is universally applicable. Memes. We see that in school, the band geeks, chess nerds, and jousting jocks are all united in their goal of one meme in particular. Arthur Pendragon, the butt of every joke. The unity of this school is commendable, but how did it reach this point? I think Reggie assassinated the king. Reggie is notable enough to be featured in Shrek 2 above all other instrument players in the Royal Summons Band because he's the improviser who is just that good and smug enough to throw in his improv song. This small group of musicians seems to be used for the most important of important deliveries and messages, meaning they need to be the top of their game, namely the trumpeters, what with their timely musical unity. During the Fairy Godmother song, we see another band of sorts, but this is the much larger band responsible for parties and balls. Plus, there's only one less competent brass player here, and we seriously don't get a good enough shot to see if it's actually Reggie or not. I'm leaning towards not because these aren't very smug musicians, and also because in the first film we see more meme-like ones. An accordionist accompanying Robin Hood, and in Shrek 4 we see the Pied Piper, both with equal meme talent. The Piper was in the alternate universe, but at the end we see the Prime World's rendition because, like I said before, I think some semblance of the alt timeline's memory seeps back into our main ones, hence the Ogre Fam as well. My point is that someone in Worcestershire Academy is outputting these snarky social rejects to mock the hierarchy. From what we've seen, Reggie is the one with the most important job and the one with the most timely meme skill. This implies that he's both best in class and the originator. This isn't just bored band geeks, this is them inserting their band class boredom into the most serious of situations or abusing the power of music. My point? The cult of Reggie, or whomever else could possibly be exporting these corrupted musicians from Worcestershire, is doing so as a power play. The United Bullies have targeted themselves onto Arthur, which would imply once again that the whole school, and whomever originated this inside joke, has the goal of bringing down the monarchy one joke at a time, until royalty means nothing anymore. Merlin was the only one who took an interest in Arthur, and he ended up quitting from stress, neurosis, and fatigue. See? Absolute correlation. At first I thought maybe Merlin created this meme as a failed experiment. I mean, he does hilariously hijack a piano during the climax, and it would explain his regrettable stress. But then I thought, no, because Reggie. So Reggie, or whomever, pushed this school to mock royalty in the form of extant music, physical bullying, and mental abuse, clearly has had a bad experience with royalty themselves. Sounds a hell of a lot like my theory tetralogy on the Fairy Godmother. This also means each theory proves the other because we slowly get more and more evidence that the previous royals of Far Far Away were indeed pretty nasty and got what was coming to them. Unfortunately, Queen Lillian is quite kind, so she gets the brunt of everyone's revenge during the films. Reggie, or the other unknown originator, has saved the masses at the expense of royalty, at the expense of Arthur. I feel as if in some way Arthur's dad wanted to get back at the family he didn't belong to, so he staged all of this somehow, but Reggie is not Arthur's dad. Remember, Arthur's dad is blonde. Perhaps this is the revenge of some sort of joker or a jester, doing it the only way they know how to. Memes. But Lillian's maturity likely eliminated the need for such entertainment. Again, there are signs that the previous royals, though, they were nasty. I do want to highlight that by all of these actions, Harold the Frog was killed so Arthur could become king. Who did this? There's a lot here I could spin, but the answer is really quite simple. Harold died from being an extremely old frog after the Fairy Godmother's magic vanished from him. Merlin's magic is also sort of bizarre. I think he might be a Rumpelstiltskin-esque witch as well. Anyways, Reggie did not assassinate the king, but I do believe he did unwittingly in being one of the many pawns in the game of the Fairy Godmother's plan to bring down Far Far Away. Reggie himself has an instrumental cult of meme lords who abuse royalty whenever they can in the slightest of ways that they can from the second they hit this high school. The Fairy Godmother uses memes to her advantage. The reason that Arthur was treated so brutally is because he was royalty. Wasn't worth it? Well, he will only perpetuate the cycle because his last words to Worcestershire were mocking and condescending about how he's finally become king. A vicious cycle that humbles royalty only drives the commoners up the wall. Now there is one final thing I want to touch upon, and it's that I finally have a genetic depiction of Arthur's mother. She very likely has brown hair and the maiden name Le Fay. In bonus features on the Shrek 3 disc, we see profiles of characters and see one called Morgan Le Fay, who states to be Arthur's cousin. There is a chance she could in fact be the daughter of Reggie, though that is extremely unlikely. Point is, Le Fay is not a name heard elsewhere in these films, and the genetics are not consistent with the blonde royals, meaning she's on the other side. Arthur's mother was a brunette then, which may assist us in the future. There's lots of shifty stuff overall. I do wonder how Reggie and friends got out of the swamp and back to Far, Far Away so quickly, or how they even got there. At the end, it sort of looks like they just dive into the swamp. They don't have any transportation. So there you have it. Reggie is either the leader of, or a high-ranking member of, a meme cult that uses musical comedy to take down monarchies. What a conspiracy. What bullshit.